Hello, hello, beautiful people of the internet. Hello, Squigs, not delusional. Dark Paladin 037, Warcake the Third, Curseword, November Beetle, Folio, Furious Sheep, and Something Toad, Sedgicus, Larfa 7, X Sierra Morgan X, and everybody else who's tuning in for a continuation of BattleBrawl number 6. We had some pretty fun matches yesterday where we did all of round 1. You can see here on the screen. We had, in case anyone missed it, and you know, you're watching this video first, which you shouldn't be, but whatever. You should go back and watch OTK versus Forged Steel in particular. Because that, chef's kiss, that's a real treasure. And for those who are watching live in on Twitch, you can follow the link that Squigs posted to the Discord with a link to the clips. I think the clips should also be, you can find them on Twitch below. And definitely do the OTK versus Forged Steel clips. Watch those because damn. So, without further ado, I say we get this party started. Our first match will be Cuck Chair versus Big Swordlance. Yeah, you love how all of round 1 is likely to be just as long as the entire rest of the tournament. Yeah, it is a funny thing about the, what's this called? Is this a Swiss style tournament? Is that what this is? Whatever this tournament format is, the classic, you know. So, hello Agrippa. How do we get an emote for the Hound? Oh man, that's actually a great idea. Okay, so we've got our teams loaded up on the screen. On the left, we have Cuck Chair. On the right, we have Big Swordlance. Cuck Chair has a Orc Warlord champion with a single zombie, 2 gunners, and Skeleton Boss. This mysterious Skeleton Boss, of course, being the Conqueror. Practically a champion level unit himself. On the right, we have a champion goblin skirmisher with 9 ancient legionaries and 6 polearm wielding conscripts. Should be a pretty good match. Go ahead and get your predictions and poll choices done now, and we'll see how this turns out. Looks like people are believing in the power of the Swordlance. Good choice. But we'll see. An Orc Warlord is going to be quite the beast to take down. Swiss is the everyone fighting format. Oh, okay. Swiss is like the where everyone does it against everyone. What is this type of format called? I just think of it as like the standard. Ever since I played Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the SNES. I remember it had this format built into it. I thought that was great fun, even though, you know, I would just play against a bunch of CPUs. I don't know why I liked it. What flavor of sparkling water you got today? Sponsored by water. Hams. So, it's got extra sparkle. I figure, you know, I'm not one much to consume alcohol in general. Really don't. But it just feels like this is like a sport. This is like going to a sporting event, for me, anyway. I'm not really engaging my brain in the same sort of strategic sense that I am with normal Battle Brothers, where I would never want to be under the influence of anything, at least not meaningfully. But here, you know, I'll have a beverage. Hams is a very, 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 very Minnesota American style lager, basically. Is the upcoming stream news going to include a sparkling water tier list? Oh my god, it should. Oh no. Something Toad, that's a great idea. That's kind of a joke video, but I have opinions. And that might be, okay. Why do I love that idea so much? All right, anyway. All right, looks like predictions and polls are complete. We've got some believers in the Big Swordlance. Let's get this party started. That's right, here you can relax your brain and shout at the AI for unoptimal moves. That's exactly the play. Looks like this Skirmisher has baited out a couple destined to miss gunner shots. Okay, we got 3 sword lances. Weirdly enough, I would say most of the time the sword lance is going to be preferable to the pole mace. In this particular match, I think the pole mace is better. Skeletons moving forward. Scork Hooked Blade, what a great name. We got some Overwhelm stacks on the Ancient Dead there. Now, Overwhelm being... Ooh. Boy, those polearms should have just waited. It's kind of a disaster. Hello, Falsers. Welcome, welcome. So this conscripts kind of wasted their first turn, and one of the conscripts got, so to speak. The gunners aren't going to be able to sustain their ranged attacks for too much longer. But the Conqueror is going to be doing... Oh, big attack there by Scork Hooked Blade. Now that was a good kill because that made all of the conscripts go confident. Some of them moving a little bit too aggressively on this Orc Warlord. Mango upstairs losing his mind. Okay. Sorry about that. They're gonna go bark at something. Okay. Yeah, so I'm feeling a bit too confident. The Orc Warlord and Conqueror are going to be tough foes to bring down, that's for sure. That's for sure. We all know the problem with overconfidence. We do know the problem with overconfidence. Ah, I see why the dogs are barking. My wife just got home. Or at least the garage door is opening. So if somebody else appears on stream and it's a strange man, that's not good. Okay. Anyway, so the Conqueror doing some good damage. The gunners are, you know, fully have been got. Dovcool pulling into the garage right now. Uh-oh, it's not my time yet. Dovcool knows I have work to do on this earth. I think weirdly enough, the Warlord spawning with the named axe and not having a shield is probably a bad thing. I think optimally, in this particular situation, him having a shield would be better. Tell him to rob later, you're in the middle of an important internet thing? Yes, I will do that. It's like, excuse me, I'm busy. Can this wait? All right, so the Fearsome is breaking through. The armor of the Warlord has been, you know, taken down. And so they're breaking him, you know, he's confident for now, but that will, of course, change relatively soon. Orc Warlord taking the high ground spot. Last of the gunners still doing pretty well. You know what's interesting is gunners are actually decent in melee. These, I don't know, these 4 AP attacks against the Ancient Legionaries are doing pretty well. You actually remember once a streamer did have their house broken into by armed robbers while they were streaming. I don't remember who it was. I want to say, was it Path of Exile? I think I know what you're talking about, Dark Paladin. Or maybe it was Dota? Was it a Dota player? Yeah, what's crazy, I think that did actually happen. Anyway. Suns Fan. Yeah, I think it was. It was Suns Fan streaming Dota. Which, that's completely wild. The Orc Warlord showing us the power of high resolve. I don't know. This is starting to look... This is really close. Foiled by the poor AI once again. Yeah, the conscripts letting themselves get taken out is pretty bad. Now, I will say this. The Goblin Skirmisher is still going to be really hard for the Conqueror to hit. Big Swordlance not focusing their damage particularly well here, either. That named Goblin Cruel Falchion is doing work, though. Yeah, conscripts also not attacking this rounded opponent's not great. Agreed, though I think it does kind of look like Big Swordlance is going to have this. Maybe. Yeah, now it's looking like a done deal. I think that's just the way it is. Yeah, the Goblin Champion, the Goblin Skirmisher, very powerful. It's kind of a pass a little bit with the champion, but anyway. All right, and the winner is Big Swordlance. And I need to load up the brackets in another browser so that I can enter the scores. Well done, Big Swordlance. Okay, am I gonna need to refresh this? Probably. Excellent. Okay, up next we have Old Boy versus the Neckbeards. You know, speaking of Dota and tournaments, I really should do a better job of saying like, Old Boy versus Neckbeards, round 1, or something like that. Anyway, or maybe I shouldn't. Devious Mink, yes, happy Sunday. I am doing quite well. It is BattleBrawl day, which is always a good day. At least for me, there is no chance for disappointment. I don't care who wins, I just care for having good matches. Could feed the names into one of those TTS tools. Ooh. Another good idea. I'm gonna write that down. I like that. I like that. Some neckbeards entered via garage and had that announcement. Indeed, indeed. Okay, and so Old Boy versus the Neckbeards. On the left, we have Old Boy. Is this? Yeah, okay, this is Old Boy. For some reason, I had a moment of panic where I was like, wait a minute. Old Boy and Grandfather's Children got mixed because Grandfather's Children has a... Anyway, all right. Old Boy. We've got a Champion Necromancer, 8 Ancient Legionaries, and 8 Ancient Legionaries with polearms, and 10 Armored Zombies. On the side of the Neckbeards, we've got the Champion Necromancer, 6 Footmen, 1 Armored Zombie, 1 Standard Bearer, 4 Billmen, 2 Zombies, and 1 Armed Peasant. This is going to be a Necromancer on Necromancer brawl. This could take a little while. Just as a warning. We'll have to change the name. Rules are gonna have to break a lot of TOS. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to, for the next tournament. Here's my concern, in all seriousness. I want to make sure that this content, this video, this platform, this thing that I'm doing is accessible to everyone, no matter what. I want everyone to feel welcome here, no matter their age, no matter whatever. And so anything that might restrict the reach, like I don't want to get marked as mature audiences. And so, I don't know. I'm probably going to have to put some restrictions on team names in the future. I want to make sure that this is accessible to everyone. So just something I've thought about. So in the future, apologies to people whose team names I reject, but it's just to keep this available for all. It's not some sort of personal commentary. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, that's my philosophy. No matter who you are, no matter what type of person you are, age, gender, etc., pick whatever sort of bucket you want to apply, you're all welcome here. So, anyway, it looks like we've got 56% believing in the Neckbeards. This is going to be maybe a bit of a slog. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, I agree with you, Falsers. I'm not offended by anything personally, but yeah, edginess for the sake of itself is also something that, I don't know. I feel the same, I'll put it that way. What about people who are offended by inoffensive content? Can't please everyone. Slurgy welcoming even evil people? Well... I mean, I'll give him a second try. Okay. So Necromancer's, of course, going to start with a Possess, because that's all they've got for the moment. A bunch of big whiffs starting the combat there. What are you drinking? It looks bright and summery. It is. It is a Hams. Or, as me and some of my buddies call it, a Hamsel. A Hamsel in distress. It's the right thing to consume for a Battle Brawl. The Sunday morning hams. You know, under other circumstances, that would be indicative of a problem. Yeah, only one correct shield. Yeah, looking on the side of Neckbeards, they've just got a whole bunch of kite shields and one heater shield. Not a single ranged unit on the battlefield. Whoops. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the Ancient Legionaries with polearms on the side of Old Boy, I might need to lower the cost of the Ancient Legionaries with polearms specifically because they can so frequently spawn with broken pikes, or maybe for the future Battle Brawl, I'll do it on a different start day. You know, maybe we go to day 500, and so units are fully developed, and see how that changes things. You've never had hams, but just looked it up, and it indeed looks great for a great summer Sunday. Yeah, it's a very Minnesota summer beverage, for sure. Actually, one thing I'm curious about, so something I don't know the answer to, but is actually relevant here. So these two Necromancers have the exact same initiative. Their weapon costs 0, and they've got the same outfit on. Now this round, the Necromancer with the Rondell Dagger went first. Is that always the case? Is that predetermined? Is it always, if in the case of a tie, it goes to the person on the left? Because being the first Necromancer of the two to go is a really big deal in this very specific particular mirror matchup. Have I ever had bush apple? No, I have not. We could have a best of 3 where each round is a different day. Ooh. That'd be hard to do logistically. That'd be hard to coordinate within the client. Well, maybe not that bad. I would just have to create a couple different saves. I don't know. That's an interesting idea. It doesn't matter a lot after the first round where the first one goes to claim all the corpses. He'll be behind in fatigue and the next will go to the other first. Yeah, but I think starting out ahead in numbers, I think being first in that really does matter. But regardless, I mean, they're each gonna have plenty of corpses at this point, I suppose. Here soon, anyway. Being the first to submit a team, which puts you at the top of the bracket. No, I randomize so I create a big list of teams that I input into challenge, and then I just randomize it, which is, you know, how I create the list. It has nothing to do with the order in which they were submitted. Also, hello, Zwinny Turgersek2. So things are still looking pretty even. It's looking like the humans on the side of Neckbeards are actually standing up pretty well. They're holding up. They're holding up. But the skeletons and zombies of Old Boy will not be stopped. Questionable move by that banner. Was there anyone even to rally? Why did he rally? I thought it kind of looked like everyone was confident. I must have missed it, but it looks like everyone's confident. Lots of broken pikes, unfortunately. Yeah, and again, that's just an artifact of it being day 1. The top footman was wavering. Oh, I suppose. I guess he still is, maybe. If you got a horn, you want to blow it? True enough. Now keep in mind that something you don't see too often, other than during the Undead Crisis, is that necromancers can resurrect ancient dead. So, again, something to keep in mind. Good round for the zombies there. Yeah. Big attack by that particular zombie. Yeah, I don't know. This is still pretty close. It's kind of looking a little bit like Neckbeards is starting to gain a little bit of momentum though. I think if there is a unit that breaks through and gets on top of the Necromancer from either side, that's the team that's gonna win. Pretty much for sure. Yeah, exactly. The humans are marching closer to the enemy Necro. Yeah, that was kind of my thought. It looks to me like once those two ancient legionaries in the center fall, that Neckbeards is gonna push through. And as soon as they get on top of the Necro, they're toast. Left fainting ancient dead, betrayer. Yes. Oh, and there it is. Already happened at the end of round 6. Not looking good for Old Boy. That is a very, very, very big deal. Pretty sure that's just gonna be GG, especially with a second unit on top of the Necro. And I suspect that Necros don't have the script to be able to do puncture. But he still stabs the zombie to death. Yeah, let's see what the Necro can do with his fancy dagger. And I don't know if Necros have dagger mastery. It must not. He only did 2 attacks. I guess I kind of answered my own question. Sometimes champions have different perks. Things like that. I thought maybe that champion might end up with dagger mastery. I don't see champion Necros very often. And when I do, they die real quickly as soon as I get on top of them. Necromancers are super weird units. Necromancers are super weird units. I agree with this. Look at that rotation. The living and the dead. Allies. How nice. Now the Ancient Dead on the bottom there, still persevering. It'd be interesting if they get on top of the Necro. I don't think they will. And if they do, it doesn't matter. But still. Yesterday the Barbarians would probably have beat the Hound if they weren't rotation addicted. Yeah. God, that was so crazy. OTK versus Forged Steel. Again, what a great match. Necromancer raising the other Necromancer as a zombie. Oh my god. This level of violence. Of control. The disrespect. Neck boys being rude. Incredible. Crouch spamming. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Only 3 units remain for Old Boy. They're toast. Heard you like Necromancer, so I gave that Necromancer a Necromancer. Classic meme format. Yo dog. Heard you like Necromancers. Now there are going to be, you know, a few zombies that rise up, only to be beaten back down. Only one remains. Still fighting valiantly. And full health and full armor. Wow. We need a Slurgy Tavern Cheers emote. What do you mean by that? For our chat morale? Could you describe what you mean by that, Falsers? All right, and the winner is Neckbeards. So Sturgy, your wife is complaining that the verses is bigger than the team names. Please fix. All right, Dark Paladin's wife, I've fixed it for you. How's that? Hold on. Let me know if she approves. Okay. GG. Neckbeards take it. In fact, we'll do the same thing here. We'll make it a little bit bigger here. We'll make this just a tiny bit smaller. How about that? Okay. Better luck next time to Old Boy. Okay. So up next, we have Grandfather's Children versus Unlikely Friends. Oh no. I'm not a robot. Oh no, they've got some sort of stupid, no. One moment. Hold up, hold up. What? Oh god, I hope that wasn't, anyway. All right, invasive ads. What's the problem is I have this open in an incognito window. Just again to who knows what could appear for cookies or targeted advertisements, and I can't run my extensions on an incognito window. Maybe there's a way to do that. Otherwise I would block these ads anyway. You can enable anyway. We'll continue on. Grandfather's Children versus Unlikely Friends. You just have to allow them okay, all right. Well, I just haven't bothered to do that because I don't open too many incognito tabs too frequently. It'll happen to you when you get older too. Okay, Grandfather's Children versus Unlikely Friends. Oh my goodness, I gotta move that over. So we're loading up the teams here. Shit. Misclicked. Okay. You want somebody to make a metal cover of the Undead theme? You know what's funny is I have no experience with metal music whatsoever, but I've kind of thought about it. Just getting some chonky guitar riffs, which I am absolutely not qualified to do. But I think it would be awesome as a metal cover. I'm not a metalhead, but even I agree with this. So, all right, poll and prediction are up. On the left, we have Grandfather's Children. We have a Champion Executioner, a Skeleton Priest, Grandpa himself, 3 Billmen, 4 Footmen, 2 Arbalesters, and a Warhound. Unlikely Friends has a Champion Hedge Knight, 4 Armored Zombies, 2 Ranged Mercs, 1 Assassin, 2 Gunners, and 2 Zombie Nomads. Not qualified 2 has a guitar in the background. I mean, look, I play guitar, but, you know, not the same. Yeah, I did a cover of the Battle Brothers Town theme, but I almost like, for fun, I never play my electric guitar. I only use my electric guitar as a tool for recordings. Literally never play it for fun. For fun, I play that one. So, I just don't have much experience with metal music whatsoever. I'm genuinely not qualified. There's a pretty big difference between, like, metal style electric guitar and fancy acoustic fingerstyle. Anyway. Oh, Jesus. I spilled a little. One moment. I gotta get a napkin. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. You give a guy like 1/3 of a beer who's never drinks and he makes a party foul. Anyway, okay. Okay, looks like poll and prediction are closed, and we've got some believers in, let's see, hold on, I didn't see it. Unlikely Friends has got 72% of the prediction power. Let's see what happens. We need a technical difficulties screen. Yeah, that's a good idea. Incognito mode, a napkin, where's this at? I know. Things are a bit of a mess. Okay, so we've got named armor for both of our champions here. Unfortunately, our dog, who was a secret MVP in round 1, falls in the first round of combat this time. Shot by a handgun. For shame. All right, we got one of Grandpa's farts coating the battlefield. Nobody is safe, neither friend nor foe. Very good gun attack there. Putting an overwhelm stack on 5 opponents. Lots of overwhelm going out on the battlefield on the way of the unlikely friends. Also, really big attack by the 2 champions who are on top of each other, beating the crap out of each other, both confident. Yeah, the champs clash in the miasma. I'm curious what this assassin will do. If they'll just engage on the side or try to jump on the priest. Oh, nope, neither one. Neither one. What are my thoughts on assassins and Battle Brothers? Kind of underperforming so far. I've lowered their price a few times. They have kind of underperformed. And it's weird because they've mostly underperformed only because of their AI. Ooh, big attack there by the Nomad Executioner. Okay. I love that units cannot resist big AoE attacks in this format. I love it. I love it. Hedge Knight comeback? Well, we'll see. Yeah, who needs allies? Who needs allies? They don't need them. They don't need them. Assassin also throwing a firebomb on some allies. Because they say, screw it, you deal with that. Now that Merc on the high ground, that is a hell of a hex. Ooh. All right, Hedge Knight, holy shit. Holy shit. 2 big round swings. Oh no, oh my. Yeah, those were big misses by the Executioner. Had the Executioner taken out the Merc, or excuse me, the Hedge Knight, it would be very much in their favor. Right now, it's looking like things are gonna go towards Unlikely Friends, but we'll see. That Hedge Knight, I have a feeling, cannot be stopped. That Merc on the high ground, too, has been a serious thorn in the side of Grandfather's Children. The more time passes, the more you think betting on the Hedge Knight is the winning strategy. Hedge Knights are really strong. Surprised Pikachu face. Skeleton Priest, fearing for his life. Assassin, executing. I think it's all over for Grandfather's Children. Very few units remaining, and the Unlikely Friends appear to be taking it. If you put a Hedge Knight and a Lindworm on the same team, does the Knight lift the worm, or does the worm drag the Knight down? Well, so far the Lindworms have not performed super well, but Hedge Knights certainly have. Hedge Knights, which are OP in the normal game, or OP in tournaments? No way. Who knew? Who could have predicted this? Not me. And boom, there it is. The winner is Unlikely Friends. Better luck to Gramps next season. The winner is the Unlikely Friends. Up next, we have the Mûmakil unit, or however that's supposed to be pronounced, versus Tricked You. Ooh, this'll be an interesting match. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. These are two vastly differing brawl strategies. Up the Arctic, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. Okay. So, on the side of the Mûmakil unit, we have a Champion Executioner, 1 Frosty Unhold, 3 Zombies, and 2 Goblin Overseers. On the side of Tricked You, we have a Desert Stalker Champion, 15 Nomad Slingers, 6 Ranged Mercs, and a Zombie. Now, most Goblins have... Let's see, do Goblin Overseers... Do they have Anticipation? Most Goblins have Anticipation. I don't know if the Overseers do or not. I think they do, but I don't remember. If they do have Anticipation, that's a really big deal. And I have a feeling that taking down that Frosty Unhold is going to be difficult. But the Tricked You does have the power of numbers, for sure. So we'll see. Yeah, so Yamchua, depending on what country you live in, you might be limited to only participate in the poll instead of the prediction. Both of which, you know, you can and should participate in, so. Wiki says yes? Okay. Okay. That's one of those things that, like, I just remember in general, my mental shortcut is goblins have anticipation. But do all goblins have anticipation? You know, I don't know that the shamans do. Maybe they do. I don't know. You've seen what a Raging Unhold can do to a mass of units. It's true. They're very powerful. Looks like we've got 65% believers in Tricked You, though. Pathfinder, Quick Hands, Anticipation, and Bullseye. Okay. Thank you, Bloaxor. Got just a few seconds left. Looks like we've got most of the channel points placed on Tricked You. So let's get this party started. Ooh, we've got another fashion crime. Another fashion crime. Sobti the Hunter. Hideous. Hideous. And then we've got the Executioner there with a big ol' hammer. Not the best weapon for this particular matchup, but, you know, it'll probably be fine. I think better would have just been a cleaver, based on the opposition here. Nomad Slingers only attacking the Overseers, considering that's where the clump of units is. Not going to be getting their full value, that's for sure. So far, just a bunch of whiffs. Only 5% chances to hit. No bueno. Yeah, all 5%ers. They're getting a lot of attacks in, not a lot of connections. Now, the most important units from a damage perspective are going to be these units with the war bows. And we'll see if they can perform. We'll see. They've certainly got the numbers advantage, but will it be enough? Unhold taking the high ground hex, as you do. A few attacks going on these zombies. That's going to be their better target. You think the guy that predicted a morale-breaking cascade has it right? Probably. AI ranged really cares about that miss to adjacent hit possibility. Yes. Enemy ranged units are actually quite easy to predict, and as long as your brain is fully tuned into it when you're moving your units around the battlefield, you can always ensure that the enemy attacks the unit you want them to. However, sometimes your mind loses track, focuses on other things, and then you let Desert Stalker or two attack your -5 range defense Nimble Brother standing in the open, for example. So, you know, as long as you don't let that happen, you can always control them and not have too much problem. Oh, Nomad Slinger with the 5% nails that Overseer, takes him out. I mean, look, that's a lot of Nomad Slingers. That's a lot of slingers. PTSD without saying PTSD. Yeah. Now, the side of Mûmakil unit, they do have a bunch of AoE attacks. Like, like so. How many hours did you have in the most recent run? That's a good question. They're gonna have to pave a new road with all the rocks they're throwing. Luckily, they do have this stone path for endless ammunition. But yeah, Warcake, I could go through and total up the numbers on the VOD. On the VODs. It's gonna be, I don't know. It was a couple weeks at least. Couple weeks, 5 days a week-ish, streaming. 6-ish hours per stream. Probably like 60 hours, something like that. Lesai. You fear they don't have the DPS to go through the unhold regeneration? I think Rufin is probably right. I think the unhold will eventually be kind of unable to be taken down. But we'll see. We'll see. Warbows do a lot of damage though. So like, they might be able to do it. They might be able to do it. I don't know. I think they might be able to do it. I think Tricked You might have this. The issue is not the unhold. Well, I mean, it's a mix. Unholds have too good a regen? Yeah, I don't know. Problem is they're spending their DPS on the unhold while the executioner wipes their backline. I mean, I think that since the unhold got attacked some and is going to regen while they now attack other targets, the lack of focused damage is what's really going to be causing Tricked You some problems. Yeah, the hammer is unfortunate here, for sure. It's just not a very effective weapon against, for example, that nimble ranged merc. That's a ranged merc, right? Yeah. Nimble ranged mercs, they're very durable and still pretty potent in melee. Nomad Slingers attacking this Goblin Overseer. 5% chance to hit. Hammer's a decent weapon for bypassing overwhelm and melee. I mean, only for the second hit. So like, at that point it doesn't matter that much. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's still slower. Oh, looks like he's faster. Unhold back to full after taking like 6 warbow shots to the face. Yeah, but he's taking these hits now. If they take down the unhold, I think Tricked You has got this. If they can't, then they're doomed. That Overseer moving forward, like up 1 hex, is actually secretly a really big deal. The Slingers are going to redirect their fire. At least up until the time the zombie moves. Unhold at half health. I mean, He's not invulnerable, that's for sure. He absolutely could fall. Yeah, I mean, the slingers, you know, the Nomad Sling does okay damage. It really does. Big attack there by Sobti the Hunter. Ooh, Goblin Overseer getting pretty low. Do the teams that move on get to have the bros back? Yeah, yep. Teams are recreated in full. It would be interesting to do it a different way, Mellet Man, where only the survivors move on, but then I would have to create, I mean, that'd be a lot more work, because I just generate these by a script that I just like, you know, or data structure that I just paste into the mod. And so I've got the team's data structures kind of pre-set up, basically. Yeah, this is actually a really interesting match, I agree. Oh, shit. Big second attack by the Unhold. Ooh. Hammer hit in the head. Not quite enough to be lethal, though. Actually, longer match than Necro versus Necro? Oh, yeah, definitely. Unhold just clinched it there? Yeah, might have. We'll see, as long as it can stay high health and stay confident. Confidence doing a lot of work. Blue skip turn button pressed. I don't know, that I think the Unhold's gonna fall here, right now. He's gonna fall before he gets to move. The Unhold falls. Okay, so the only unit we have remaining is the Cursed, our Nomad Executioner. So if the Nomad Executioner is able to take out this Merc and get on top of, you know, Sobti the Hunter, I think he can take this. If he can't, he's doomed. And you know what? Honestly, okay, 70% chance to hit, despite 3 overwhelm stacks? Never mind. I was gonna say he's not gonna be able to hit him. You said it and it happened exactly that way? Where's the real Slurgy? I know. Even a broken clock is right, you know, twice a day or whatever. Can I scroll to the right a bit, please? I mean, sure. You can do that. That's where all the action's gonna be anyway. I've been letting the game's manual scroll take over, but I suppose chat is on the screen. Yeah, it's over. Tricked You is gonna take it. Military clocks are only right once a day, then I'm a military clock. Yeah, Tricked You is a very cool setup. Though I'm pretty sure the person behind the team Tricked You has already won enough Battle Brawls. They've done a good job of drafting very effective teams. It could have turned around if he didn't miss those 70s, yeah. True, but he did. So if, you know, the one thing that's also happening here on the battlefield is that Tricked You is very low on like resolve. So if a big hit happens and they all go to breaking, maybe there's a chance for the Mûmakil unit, but I don't think so. Eventually some of these 5% are gonna make it through. Unless they take out their ally. I guess that could also happen. Ooh, bunch of misses there. Yeah, Sobti the Hunter is just doing too much damage. Yeah, this Executioner's cooked. He's dead. He's doomed. Tricked You's gonna take it. What a match. Incredible. Sobti the Hunter, as soon as he attacks, despite his hideous outfit, is probably gonna take him out right at the start of round 15. Let's see if that ends up happening. Oh, it did! I made a correct prediction. I did it! I made a correct prediction. And Tricked You takes it. Tricked You takes the W. Boom. And so, up next we have boom! Headshot versus Hunters. All right, we'll get the teams loaded up. Okay, and so teams are loaded up. On the side of Boom Headshot, we have a Champion Goblin Skirmisher, 2 Goblin Shamans, 4 Ranged Mercs, 2 Skeleton Ancient Legionaries with polearms, 2 Ancient Legionaries with, sword and shield, and 1 Arbalester. On the side of Hunters, we have a King of the North, Barbarian King Champion, 2 half-health Necro Savants, 1 Goblin Shaman, 2 lower Goblin Ambushers, and 1 Zombie Nomad. Interesting. This might be a matchup where the Necro Savants shine, if I'm being honest. Necro Savants looking pretty good here. You thought Hunters was a ton of dogs? No, we've got Necro Savants, which I think is going to be pretty effective against Boom Headshot. But by saying that, I'm probably wrong. So we'll see. We'll see. They're bound to do something useful. They're bound to do something useful. For sure. Chat heavily disagrees with me on that. Yeah, I know. Slurgy Caster cursing your team? Sorry, Corvus Korak. It's what I gotta do. But yeah, for those who are trying to do predictions and are unable to, depending on your country, you may not be able to. Nothing I can do about that. The channel points here are basically just for fun anyway. But, it's nice to have big number go up. I'm obviously a fan of big number go up. Makes serotonin happen in brain. Happy brain chemical. Small brain, big number. Love to see it. All right, looks like we got 68% believing in Boom Headshot, 67 now. Only 2 away from the funny number. Let's see how this goes. Ooh, King of the North spawning with a big old hammer, or axe. Axe that looks like a hammer. Named Heavy Rusty Axe, one of the best weapons in the game. On the side of Boom Headshot, we've of course got a cute little goblin with a spear. Very accurate little weapon. A lot's going to be riding on these Necro Savants to not be complete idiots. Let's see what they do. Not the best choice. That one's better. Ooh, okay. Shaman's rooting the Necro Savants, actually a huge deal. No, the round swing to proc 9 lives on your ally. The round swing to proc 9 lives on your ally. I love that units cannot resist doing AoE attacks. I love it. It's so stupid, and I love it. Oh my goodness. Wonderful. Ooh, looks like that Necro Savant hit the head. So it's gonna get some, a Headhunter stack. Let's see if that Necro Savant can regain its health, the one that procced 9 lives. The other one did a good job attacking there. Necro Savant's still cleaning up. Now that was a pretty important hit. I don't know if that's enough healing though. So I think one of the Necro Savants is going to fall. The other is going to stay alive. You'd love to see the decision making in real time behind those round swings. Yeah. All right, Goblin Shaman using Bash, taking out one of the Necro Savants. So one of the Necro Savants is gone, but the other's still doing his thing. Looks like Barbarian King, King of the North, does not have Relentless, right? Because he didn't have 2 turns, 3 turns of the insects? Maybe not. I don't know if they have Relentless or not. Again, don't pay that close of attention. Goblin Champion can almost solo this. Yeah, Goblin Champion very strong. Decision making goes as follows. 2 is greater than 1, proceeds with round swinging. Yeah, basically. Basically just that. Vaku's the Elusive with 2 95% chance attacks. High ground, accuracy weapon. Pretty good. You think that round swing unironically cost them the game? I kind of agree, Rail Tracer. Barbarian Kings do have Resilient, yeah. And it's called Holdout in the game's code, which is weird. And there goes the other Necro Savant. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think Boom Headshot's gonna take this. Necro Savants surprisingly underperforming. Huh. I thought this might have been their moment. I was wrong. We're learning that champion Goblin Skirmishers are really good. Oh yeah, they're very good. What are the requirements to get a team on one of these streams? You know, Warcake, it's nothing more complicated than to submit a sign-up sheet. I announce them just prior to the Battle Brawls on the Discord, and that's it. That's the only requirement. Anybody is welcome to submit a team. We had more than 32 submissions this time. I opened the submission, instead of first come first serve, I changed the format to allow as many to come in during a 24-hour period, and then just randomly selecting 32. And I said there were 36 submissions. There were a few that were invalid. So there were actually only 34 valid submissions in the end. And so, yeah, it's a tiny bit of luck of the draw, but most people who submit teams get them in, so. Yeah, I'll just be ready for it next time, Warcake. Yeah, Barbarian King taken out. Wow. Very, very strong performance from Boom Headshot. Well done to them, and better luck next time to Hunters. Even though, you know, there is no next time. Because it's best of 1. All right, and up next we have Snick versus Gobbos and Doggos. These are fun team names. I really like Snick and Gobbos and Doggos. I like them both equally, which means, who knows, they could both lose. All right, we're gonna load up the teams here. And we are go. The teams are loaded up. On the side of Snick, we have a champion goblin ambusher, 1 lindworm, 1 goblin shaman, 3 conscripts, and 2 lower goblin ambushers. On the side of Gobbos and Doggos, we have another champion goblin ambusher, 5 goblin wolf riders, 9 goblin ambushers, and 8 war dogs. Interesting. Okay. Thanks again to Squigs and Not Delusional for creating the polls and predictions, freeing me up to work in the game client to get these things up and running. Much appreciated, much love to them. Aesthetic Gabe, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. Let's go Gobbos and Doggos. Is that your team, Aesthetic Gabe? It's a good team. Squigs is a level 11 mod, definitely. A Lindworm made it to round 2. A Lindworm made it to round 2. I don't remember who Snack played in the first round. Who did they go against? Feed them. Oh yeah. A bunch of nachos. The nacho strat has not worked out so far. Interesting. Looks like we've got pretty even split of belief in both sides. There are slightly fewer who are willing to bet their channel points on Snack. Morale is a flimsy thing. Yeah, it really is. Nacho is probably best used as a small addition, not a Zerg Rush. Yeah, and somehow you need to create a team where the nachos naturally want to hang back. I don't know how you do that. But that's what you gotta do. Okay. Oh man, a huge prediction placed on Snack. Oh my goodness. You voted for the wrong team. Is that a game? No! Well, maybe it'll pay off. You know, if Gobbos and Doggos is your team, then now you win either way? I guess. X Carrywurst, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. Anyway, yeah, you just win either way, Aesthetic Gabe. You know? Whether you win or lose, you win. You've rigged it. Congratulations. First Blood, incredible. Karok's Eye Gouger, doing an aim shot and taking out an ambusher in 1 attack. That's going to be a strong and spooky Boondock Bow. This smells like match fixing. Smells like match fixing. I will still never forgive Savior for desecrating Brood War. All right, teams moving forward. Let's see how much work this Lindworm can get done. Lindy will snack soon and get confident. Yeah, the Lindworm is not going to stay at a reduced resolve state for too long. That was a very, 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 very weird starting move, though. Lindworm pulling the classic The Hound maneuver of letting his team fall before engaging. Let's see how it works out. Lindworm's just gonna have 10 Overwhelm stacks and die. Well, there's only 1 unit on the side of Gobbos and Doggos that has Overwhelm. Only the champion ambushers apply Overwhelm. Regular ambushers do not. StarCraft Brood War Battle Brothers crossover when? The real question is, do we make Battle Brothers real time, or do we make StarCraft units in the turn-based hex grid format? Either one could be fun. That's true. Overhyped Studios is making a game called Menace that is sort of futuristic, you know, space units and aliens. Should be fun. Turn-based Brood War? I mean, hey, it could work. We just need to remove the StarCraft unit legs, that's it. Nothing but Archons. Oops, all Archons. Yeah, the tail's in a good position. Good position for the old sweep attacks. Move the screen left a bit? Yeah. Yep, I got it. You played with some design for StarCraft using Advanced Wars mechanics? Interesting. Yeah, I really like the Advanced Wars style game. I used to play Wargroove. Wargroove was like a classic, not LAN party, but just like friends get together in a cabin kind of game. Me and some friends would play Wargroove pretty regularly. Great fun. Great fun. Caesar, best boy. Which unit in RTS Battle Brothers would have the shittiest movement AI? It's gotta be the Dragoon. The Dragoon makes, I was gonna, the Dragoon makes every unit look good. Okay, Conscripts disrespecting zone of control. Backing up and wanting to take out that Wolf Rider. Battle Brothers RTS. I mean, it could be cool. The Dragoon would have 4 legs with the Lindworm tail mechanic derping around. Yes. And it's got a higher chance to just misfire. The cute little blob, like, starts to emerge and then just gets sucked back in. Little turtle head, Yeah, so I think this Lindworm, despite being really strong, it's not going to get overwhelmed in the, status effect sense, but I think it will get overwhelmed. All of these bows and swords, they're eventually going to take their toll, but we'll see. Which unit in Battle Brothers RTS would be as bad as the Goons can be? Which unit is the stupidest? Barbarian Chosen are kind of dumb. So are Berserkers. Your Gobbos hunt Lindworms for fun? Well, sometimes you gotta sacrifice and throw away all of your channel points just to continue on in the tournament. Congratulations, Aesthetic Game, on doing so. Necro Savants, the data backs it up. That's true. Necro Savants have been terribly... It's weird because as a player, you feel like Necro Savants are brutally efficient at finding your weakest bro and surrounding him. And in this, they just derp. Chosen would be very scary if they didn't want to flank so much. Yeah, for sure. Barbarian Kings are pretty stupid. Yeah, I think they probably have basically the exact same AI as the Chosen. You're just redistributing the wealth to fans of your team. Beautifully stated, Aesthetic Game. Yeah, way too many goblins attacking this Necro Savant. Necro Savant. Lindworm. And realistically, the Lindworm... I don't know what the Lindworm's ranged defense is, but it might actually be negative. It's pretty low. It's pretty low. I'm sure Bloaxor will say the specific stat of the amount of ranged defense they have in chat here shortly. Just a prediction. -10. Oh, someone got to it before him. Yeah, Lindworm's getting worked by these goblins. And the thing is, goblins have really high stats, just in general, high defensive stats. That tail round swing that missed everyone, that's not that surprising against goblins. Goblins, genuinely very efficient against a Lindworm. I'm surprised the Lindworm hasn't had any resolve triggers yet. Yeah, Necro Savant Lindworm, a real nightmare. Yeah, a Necro Savant that lifesteals when they attack. Yeah, Goblin's completely destroying this Lindworm. There it is, boom. And the victory goes to Gobbos and Doggos. The Snick Snack will have to have a snack attack some other day. Congratulations to Gobbos and Doggos. Up next, we have Forged Steel versus the Donkey Lovers. Forged Steel, of course, having the absolute best Unexpected comeback from the first round. Absolutely incredible. The legendary hedge. Let us hope that they get the Hound again. But maybe the Hound has earned his retirement and they'll replace him with, you know, the Mountain or some other Hedge Knight champion. Previous bets have taught you to respect the ranged advantage? Yeah, for sure. 3x, for sure. All right, teams are loaded up. Let's hedge your bets here. Okay, so on the side of Forged Steel, we have a champion Hedge Knight, 3 Oathbringers, and a Mercenary. Few, but powerful. On the side of the Donkey Lovers, we have a champion Gladiator, 4 Mercenaries, 2 Orc Berserkers, 1 Southern Donkey, 5 Zombies, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree. Let's see what people believe in. Yeah, something that, you know, both Squigs and Not Delusional, by accepting my call to who wants to help moderate the BattleBrawl tournament, have relinquished their own ability to participate in the predictions. So, they're making some sacrifice here. Thank you again to them. What happens if you put a champion checkmark on a zombie or other unit that does not have champs? If I recall correctly, the game will give them like additional stats, but unless they have like a specific champion type in the game, they don't get any special side effects. I think that's how that works. I don't remember exactly how the mod is set up or how that works. You must rebuild your wealth for the next fight? Well, let's hope that you are correct in your prediction for the Donkey Lovers. If Forged Steel manages to take this whole tournament, well, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll be happy. Can you ever fight Oathbringers in the base game? Yes. As the Oathtaker Origin, there is an event where Oathbringers will just attack you. So you gotta be prepared for that. It just happens. It's an event. It's spooky. I love it. Okay. Predictions are pretty even. It looks like we've got 54% on the side of Forged Steel. Let's get this battle started and see how it goes. Oh, man. The Hound. The Hound versus Zuri the Merciless. The Hound spawning with a big old two-handed flange mace. And he means business. He's back. Okay. First blood. The Hound taking some out. Forged Steel looking pretty strong. You feel this isn't even fair? Yeah, Forged Steel getting some really, really powerful attacks in. So a lot is going to be riding on these Berserkers to get some rage stacks. If they don't, they are doomed. There's going to be another big long sword attack, I think, by this Oathbringer on top. Just wait for it. The old sweep. I'm calling it here. Will it happen? Oh, it did. Shit, that was a good one. Now, there was a big stun there. Happened from the Gladiator on top of that, yeah, that Oathbringer in the back. And, hey, he's getting taken out by that Orc Berserker. Oathbringer in the back. In some serious trouble. A lot's going to be riding on the Hound to take it home. Instead of attacking, the Orc Berserker attempts to disrespect zone of control to not even get an attack in. The Hound. Come on, buddy. Bad Berserker weapons for comeback. Yeah, especially against the heavy armor of the Hedge Knight. That's true. They're going for the donkey. They're going for the donkey. That's going to give donkey lovers an opportunity to kind of come back into this. They're going after the donkey. Wow, that is insane. Yeah, donkey with taunt. Wow. Wow. It's the Hound he's throwing. He's going to clutch it nonetheless. Yeah, the Hound, he's got his own way of playing this game. The Hound knows what he's doing. The classic 3-person donkey flank. These Berserkers are going to have a lot of rage stacks. Really good stuns. Stunning the entire side of Forged Steel. This is actually really close. There's a lot of Berserk stacks on the Berserkers. They got a big turn of stuns. I don't know, the Hound might be too powerful. We'll see. Yeah, too much armor. Oathbringer doesn't care about his allies at all. Zuru the Merciless, unable to hit the Hound. Orc Berserker unable to hit the Oathbringer. Gladiator going for stuns. Interesting. Now, the Oathbringer has a terrible weapon against these enemies. Yeah, the Hound has got this. Probably? I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. Warhammer is, yeah, just a terrible weapon for this situation. Let's see if the Hound can do it. Ooh, finally connects a stun. I don't know. The Hound's looking pretty low. He's pretty low. But he's evasive. This is genuinely really close. This is really close. Oh shit. I think the Hound's got it. There it is. Wow. Wow. And the Hound has it. I can't believe it. Forged Steel. The Hound who throws away and disregards his allies and says, I got this. I got this. I got this. Wow. Forged Steel takes the W. The donkey lovers losing their donkey, losing their pride. 'Tis a shame. All right, up next we have Overwhelming Odds versus Check the Flank. We'll get the teams loaded up here. You predict the Hound will get top 4? We shall see. We shall see. Another interesting match. You can tell just by their team names what their team strategies are and who will counter who. Honestly, I don't know. Okay, teams are up here. We have a Champion Goblin Ambusher, 10 Frenzied Hyenas, and 2 Zweihanders for the side of Overwhelming Odds. And for Check the Flank, we have a Champion Desert Stalker, 6 Frenzied Direwolves, 1 Necro Savant, and an Oathbringer. Another dog versus dog fight, yes. There have been a few doggos versus doggos. Are we doing only this column of teams? No, Warcake, we're going to do the rest of the tournament today. So today we are going to claim or crown a champion by the end of this stream. So, Great Swords will kill the Direwolves. Yeah. Zweihanders are going to be really strong here. Zweihanders are just a really powerful unit against any abundant, low HP or low armored, especially, units. Since they've got that whole berserk thing going on with an AoE attack, seems good. Seems real good. So far we've got slightly more believers in overwhelming odds. I can see it. I can see it. This could go either way. I'm not convinced. I can see this going either way. Hey, thanks, Deep Space Cowboy. Yes, this is very exciting. Is one of these two teams yours, Deep Space Cowboy? I can't remember, who's got what team. I remember a handful of who in chat submitted what teams, but in general, I just churn through the data without looking too closely. You're Neckbeards? Oh, okay, nice. All right. It looks like things are almost perfectly evenly split. Interesting. I think I agree. I could see this going either way, definitely. Agrippa given a little strategic insight. My reasoning for this composition of overwhelmers is that hyenas are great against single targets with backstabber and 3x attacks, and greatswords are good against masses of units. Sensible. All right, this time the Desert Stalker, not committing a fashion crime, but presenting on the battlefield with a fancy warbow. Let's see how dire it gets. Hey. Oathbringer spawning with a Warhammer. Again, not a great weapon against these enemies. However, having a shield, I think will serve him well. Necrosavant choosing to occupy a pretty safe hex. As long as the Necrosavant stays safe, I can see Check the Flank taking this. Otherwise, overwhelming odds will simply overwhelm them with overwhelming numbers. Of course, the Frenzied Direwolves being faster than the Frenzied Hyenas is a weird and unexpected counter. What's with that Briggy on the field? The broadcast Briggy in the corner? Yeah, what is he doing? Yeah, we got some morale problems on overwhelming odds. But the Frenzied Hyenas getting their counterattack in. They're pretty strong. Pretty strong unit. A lot of misses though. They are overwhelmed after all. You were surprised by the wolves being faster yesterday? Yeah. Frenzied Direwolves are pretty fast. Big AoE attack by one of the Zweihanders. Desert Stalker has a Catal. Show off. Yeah, considering the Hyena Mantle gives initiative, yeah. True enough. Ooh, I don't know. Things are looking pretty good for Check the Flank. A lot's going to be riding on these Zweihanders to get some damage in. With their morale falling, though, it might not be enough. Wolves clutching this time, unlike last time? Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Necrosavant should clear if the wolves fail. Potentially. I mean, the Zweihanders are going to be really good against the Necrosavant, so we'll see. Numbers are still fairly close. Well, ish. I mean, they're even now, but are they even in strength? I don't think so. Zweihanders versus the Oathbringer will be the real fight. Yes. And this is an Oathbringer, not an Oathtaker. Totally different. Totally different. Way different. You can tell because the way they are. Okay, move the screen up a little bit. Lots of overwhelm stacks still being applied by the remaining wolves and hyenas. Frenzied wolves like a mini overwhelm fearsome gunner. Kind of. We've got a lot of bleeding doggos on the field. They're going to be dying to bleeds if they don't die before that here soon. Ooh, whoa! I'm pretty sure that was a one-shot. I think that guy was full health. Yeah, the champion ambusher, full health. Wow. All right, the Zweihanders are going to have to pull off a miracle. Zweihanders are strong. Let's see if they can do it. Now, if one of the Zweihanders falls, they do have Lone Wolf, so the other will have increased stats. Will it be enough, though? Well, we'll see. Greatswords missed almost every attack. Well, they were, a lot of them, overwhelmed for many of them, so that would do it. Only one Zweihander remains. Things are not looking good for that Zweihander. It's looking to me like Check the Flank is probably going to have this. Almost for sure. Wow. Footwork and sniped him. Congratulations to Check the Flank. Better luck next time too. Overwhelming odds. So that means we are now moving on to the next round. All right. So, Check the Flank takes it. We're gonna move on to round 3. And make sure that's pulling up nicely. Let me show some of round 2. All right. So up first in round 3, we're gonna have Big Swordlance versus Neckbeards. I'll go ahead and load up these teams. Oh wait, actually I gotta load up the text first. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for the last couple days. All right, now I'm gonna load up the teams. All right, the teams are loaded. And so, on the side of Big Swordlance, we have a champion Goblin Skirmisher, 9 Ancient Legionaries, and 6 Conscripts with polearms. On the side of Neckbeards, we have a champion Necromancer, 6 Footmen, 1 Armored Zombie, 1 Standard Bearer, 4 Billmen, 2 Zombies, and an Armed Peasant. We will see if the Necromancer can withstand and overwhelm the damage coming from the side of Big Swordlance. Always bet on the Goblin Skirmisher. Goblin Skirmisher is very strong. So far, the Goblin Skirmisher and Necromancer have shown to be high-performing champions in the selection. Desert Stalker's done well. Hedge Knights have done well. Nomad Executioners have done less well. They were a favorite in the previous Battle Brawl, in Battle Brawl number 5. I did increase their point value, but people still decided they liked them. For good reason, they're pretty strong. Can the Necro res skeletons and make them switch sides? Yes, absolutely can. Absolutely can. And in fact did just earlier in this particular stream. Yeah, it happened in a couple rounds ago, yeah. All right, looks like we've got more believers in... Oh. Neckbeards. Neckbeards. Looks like it's set up as Old Boy, but let's make that... Just make it Neckbeards. Unless I'm seeing it wrong. Oh wait, did I do it wrong? Is that Neckbeards? That's Neckbeards, right? Hold up. I entered the right team, right? Or is the... Let's see. It's correct. Like the bracket is correct or the prediction is correct? I might have screwed up. Hopefully I've got it right. The team with... Okay, all right. We'll still make the prediction say, you know, what was Old Boy is Neckbeards. So, okay. Let us launch this battle. All right, we've got 5 Swordlances on the side of Big Swordlance. On Neckbeards, we've got a Necromancer with a Catal. Fancy. What a fancy boy. Swordlance has an uphill battle versus that Necro, be like the 4-to-1 odds. I mean, if the Swordlances are able to get good AoE attacks, they might be able to do it. Excellent shield spawns from the Footman, absolutely. Nero Barbecue is right. The Footman spawning mostly with heater shields. Definitely to their benefit. Ooh, questionable target there. Yeah. Necromancer choosing to possess a target that was definitely going to die later that round. Skork Ear Ripper spawning with the net, probably not actually a good thing for him. The Ambusher is going to be much stronger with a shield, holding a flank, keeping the enemies pinned down so that the Swordlances can do their work. Hey, Aesthetic Gabe, have a good luck to you with whatever it is that you're going to go do. He has double grip now? He does have double grip now. Battle Pashi, thank you for the raid. Hope your run is still going strong. You've got 16 bros now? Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so far we've got shield wall spam versus shield wall spam with all of the shield adjacency bonuses. It'll be a pretty long slog. You know, I think if the Footmen kind of all fall at once or have a morale cascade, that might be all that Big Swordlance needs to take this. If not, then I think the Necromancer will eventually simply do too much. But we'll see. We'll see. You believe in your backstabbers? As long as they don't accidentally move to the front. Some of the Swordlances disregarding their allies and their safety and just say, screw it. I want to attack whoever I feel like. Necromancer. The champion, of course, is able to possess and resurrect 2 units all on the same turn. Wow, such power. The Fearsome on the side of Big Swordlance doing some work. Despite the standard bearer being present on the side of the Neckbeards, they've still got a Footman fleeing. Fearsome, pretty good perk. Looks like, you know, unlike the previous fight, where Big Swordlance was at risk because of the interesting choices by their Swordlances, this time, Swordlances staying nicely in the background so that they can do their big ol' reap attacks, as they've just demonstrated. But will it be enough? The front line for Neckbeards, pretty strong. Both the Swordlance and the Undead have rotation. You playing around that? The real question is, what was the point of that rotation? They don't always use rotation the most intelligently, though. Sometimes they choose to rotate because, I don't know, they just felt like pressing the button. Not always clear to me why they choose to do it. Okay, that skeleton, that ancient auxiliary on the top right, getting dangerously close to this necromancer in the back. If the skeleton gets on top of the necro, I think Neckbeards are toast. If they choose not to, I think Neckbeards can still withstand. We'll see. Why have skill if not press button? True. That's a good point. Pressing button, make brain feel big. Zombie finally breaks free of the net that was placed on him in literally round 1. Necro fleeing? Oh my goodness. Now he will rally, right? Necros have really high resolve. He's almost certainly gonna rally. Skork Ear Ripper, disrespecting zone control. Doesn't care about nothing. Does what he wants. Trust in the Goblin Skirmisher? In Goblin Skirmisher we trust. Necro's secret fear is skeletons, who would have thought? Yes. Skellington Revenge. That is what they fear most. Is that a ginger zombie? Aren't they all? Honestly impressed by the Swordlances? Yeah. Yeah, Swordlances are doing work. When a team is sponsored by Big Swordlance, you know they're going to be good. Forget Nike. We've got Swordlance. Necromancer, regaining his composure. Skork Ear Ripper, still ripping ears. Has the banner even rallied once? You know, it's a good question. That was a huge reap right there. Yeah, this is a strong team. Necros fear the living and the undead cooperating. They're all about controlling the undead. But the undead and the living are just the same. Hashtag all brothers. Secret Heroes of Might and Magic 3 single player plot reveal. Unexpected. The Restoration of Arathia. It's a terrible story. Terrible, but I kind of love it. Anyway, a great game. It's over, you think? I think so too. The Legionaries are going to get on top of that Necro probably this round. I guess we'll see. Yeah, I think there's just too many units on the side of Big Swordlance. Yeah, Swordlance is doing work. Swordlance is doing work. Swordlance. I think it's a good weapon. A controversial take. It is simultaneously the most overrated and underrated weapon at the same time. Necrocide lost their damage a long time ago, yeah. You love how wacky both the Heroes of Might and Magic and Might and Magic stories and lore can get? Oh, absolutely. The Ancients, secretly space aliens. Just makes sense. And unfortunately, Robert the Apostate, standing in the back, resolute, shall fall. And boom, there it is. The W goes to Big Swordlance. Better luck next time to the Neckbeards. The Necromancer can be defeated. Up next, we have Unlikely Friends versus Tricked Ya. Let's see. I'm trying to remember who Unlikely Friends is. I remember it being a nice menagerie, a hodgepodge, a good mix of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Tricked You, of course, being a whole bunch of slingers. A very powerful weapon. All right, the teams are up. And so, we have a champion Hedge Knight on the side of unlikely friends. 4 armored zombies. 2 ranged mercenaries. 1 assassin, 2 gunners, 2 zombie nomads, and a partridge in a pear tree. Whereas Tricked You has a champion desert stalker, 15 nomad slingers, 6 ranged mercs, and a zombie. According to Reddit elitists, everyone using Swordlance past day 20 is an absolute noob who knows nothing about the game, so checks out. Yeah, Swordlances are really good against some enemies, and really ineffective against others. The same thing can be said of just about every weapon in the game. They have things they excel against. That's what makes this game really interesting and good. Did you go over the plans for Monday yet, or is that after the brawl? That will be after the brawl, Mana. I will talk about my stream plans for tomorrow. Your theory is that Swordlances are good in every fight, but they need a team to support them. I kind of agree with this. A limited number of Swordlances can be good in just about every fight. There are just specific enemies they're not good against, I think is maybe more accurate to say. This is hard to predict. I think I know where my prediction is, but I'll let everyone place theirs where theirs might lie. In your opinion, we should skip runs 29 to 41 and go straight to run 42? I understand the logic. Have no fear, Choppy Cat, for all will be revealed soon. For I have spoken to Dovcool, and Dovcool has shown me the way. All right, and it looks like more people are believers in Unlikely Friends. Let's get this rockin' and rollin'. Ooh, we've got a big axe on the mountain for Unlikely Friends. Unlikely Friends bring in the mountain, whereas Forged Steel brings the hound. All right, so the Nomad Slingers are having a 20% chance to hit the Gunners. That might be enough to take them down before they're able to get much damage. We'll see. The mountain brought the slope. The mountain brought the slope. Let's see if he can bring the pain. He moves forward. Slingers are going to stone these Gunners? I think so. I think so. Honestly, my prediction is that Tricked You is going to take this one. I think they have enough damage, but we'll see. We'll see. It kind of depends on where the zombies move, and if the zombies, you know, get sufficient resurrections to distract the slingers long enough for this Hedgie to get in and do his damage. You were thinking of Tricked You until Slurgy said so? The caster curse is real. Now this time, by the way, side note, Hamdoon the Scorpion down here, I don't hate this. It's not this armor that I dislike. That armor looks nice. It's when they pair it with that orange Desert Stalker's helmet. Ooh, big attack by the gunner. Holy buckets. Anyway, so I approve of this particular Desert Stalker's fashion choice. Let the curly locks flow. Slingers are doing a lot of moving. Are they afraid of the cannon AoE? They might be. Also, I feel like the Nomad Slingers are missing more attacks than I would have expected. The Mountain could have had an attack this round, but still chose to go and not attack for some reason. One gunner falls. The Mountain's here. The Mountain is here. Hello, Manifest Destiny's job. Good to see you got a new gig. Yes. He found new employ. We've got one zombie making a beeline for the Desert Stalker on the bottom. Nomad Slinger with the RDef shield standing in the scatter bonus attack spot. Wow. Assassin pulling out a flash pot. Any ammo limits? No. The only weapons that AI controlled units have limited ammo with is throwing weapons. Ooh! He does an attack, then he does a little dance. He does an attack, then he does a little dance. This gunner, he's cocky, he's arrogant. He believes that it's already over. What a play. What a play. He's feeling it. That's right. He believes. This gunner's a believer. Let's see if he can do it. He was so excited to fire the handgun. Or maybe maybe the barrel was hot, and that was his way of going, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Like it's too hot, you know? Who knows? I think the slingers have been getting pretty unlucky with their attacks. They haven't had that low of a hit chance against most enemies, but they've still managed to miss. All right, a zombie gets on top of Hamdoon the Scorpion, our Desert Stalker champion down there. Oh. The Mountain takes an enemy out and moves into a prime position, getting in melee with two of the ranged mercs who are going to overwhelm him. The Mountain has the wrong weapon, unfortunately. Yeah, not the best weapon for this particular fight. Gunner still alive? Yes. Gunner still alive. This is a triumph. However, the Mountain showing how against these squishy enemies he can use split to great effect. Wrong weapon, Rail Tracer says in air quotes. Yeah. Unlikely friends. Look, they may be unlikely friends, but this mix of hodgepodge, unlikely friends, they're kind of doing it. They're kind of doing it. Falling like wheat to a scythe. Yeah, this time the morale cascade is happening, for sure. Now 16 units do still remain on the side of Tricked-You. Did the ranged merc just rotate out the Hedge Knight? Yes, I believe that did happen. Classic. Classic. I don't know what is going on in the unit AI to do those rotations. Assassin just walking around with a flash pot out, as you do. Doesn't need double grip to get his kills. AI compelled to press the rotate button. Well, as Dark Paladin said earlier, if you have the button, why are you not pressing the button, you know? Why have button and not press button? Have button, press button. Big number, small brain, button, press, happy brain chemical, victory. It just makes sense. All right, so we've got a one of the slingers able to rally. Ooh, Desert Stalker does not rally though. Still fleeing. Oofda. Oofda, as this Minnesotan would say. Oofda. The Hound, instead of moving to a hex where he can get an attack, moves to a hex where he can't. Because why not? Doesn't rotate cost like 5,000 fatigue? Yeah, well, the AI units, generally speaking, not all, but most, generate more fatigue than you do as a player. There are some units that still generate 15 fatigue. One really noteworthy one is Caravan Guards. They still only generate 15 fatigue, But a lot of enemies generate 20 or more. I think 20 is a pretty common number. I don't have them all memorized or anything like that, but it's a thing. The mountain missing his attack. Yeah, I saw that ball install and they broke a shield with the arrows. Yeah, that guy blocked so many attacks. That zombie blocked so many attacks that the Adarga finally broke. Incredible. One little plink at a time. Yeah, Razo Petty, if you're looking for more information on what's going on here, this should give you the information you need. Well, that doesn't really tell you anything, actually. Well, whatever. It gives you the bracket anyway. Footman only regens 15? Okay. Ooh! Assassin gets a daze. You know, there's only 5 units remaining for Unlikely Friends. Well, we'll see. Yeah, it's all the information you get. It is a community-driven and drafted AI versus AI auto-battling tournament. In short. Big attack there by the mountain. Gonna move the screen manually. Oh, yep. Okay, will these 4 elite units of the Unlikely Friends be enough to take on the remaining, well, will these 6 elite units of Unlikely Friends be enough to take on Tricked You? Everyone releasing their version of auto battlers. It is a popular genre. I think it's fun. I haven't played any of them, but there's a, oh, what is his name? Slasher with an H before the S. Some Dota 2 meme build, sometimes genuine build, classic creator, makes a whole bunch of auto battlers now. I remember Slasher's Way, good times. Playing Faceless Void support, chronosphering your teammates, using healing potions on them, and then shouting Slasher's Way. Enough of a meme that the Dota 2 devs kind of made it a legit thing. Not many stones left? Nah, they've got an infinite supply from this road. They just pick them up off the road. You're shocked we haven't broke a sling yet? Enemy units do not lose weapon durability. So, unlike the limitation that you have as a player, where your weapons lose durability, the enemy's not subject to that. You know what would be funny? It would be to do these battle brothers during the Undead Crisis. That would spice things up. Boy, would it. Ooh, that's interesting. Because yeah, they would be a neutral third-party faction. Huh, interesting. Told you the assassin would pull his weight. So far that has been true. Yeah, Desert Stalker's been caught. The mountain is on top of the Desert Stalker. That's going to be their primary source of damage. I have a feeling it's not going to be too much longer before... Wow, why not? Well, in any case, I think Unlikely Friends is almost certainly going to take this. Catch and release, right? Yeah. Catch and release. These Hedge Knights are the biggest trolls, and I kind of love it. The mountain is throwing. Nah, he knows he's won. The Hedge Knights are just styling. They're arrogant, and I kind of love it. Mountain trying to mimic the Hound, yeah. Showboating, exactly. Showboating is a great word. That is not a word I expect people who know English as a second language to know, no matter how fluent they might be. That's a weirdly specific one. So do you remember last one where your hedge ran from enemies with 0 attacks? I do, but now we've got a fix for that. Again, big thanks to Darkso, who might be watching right now. He did submit a team. He did, anyway, he created a little mod that prevents units from being able to flee the battlefield. Huge thank you to Darkso. I think it makes this kind of tournament just make more sense. You're a native English speaker, you grew up on the internet? Okay, fair enough. You know, it is an interesting thing, like, I think that's probably fair to say. Like, how many people who, you know, grew up in Europe where the language spoken on the street around you is not English, but probably would claim to be basically native English speaker because of the internet? That makes sense to me. Yes, thank you, Darkso. Glad you're able to hear my appreciation. I do appreciate it. And there we have it. The unlikely friends are the winners. Internet is the true lingua franca. Yes. Well played, unlikely friends. Better luck next time to Tricked You. I love Tricked You's team strategy, though. That is absolutely unique and a really fun delight to see. Okay, so up next we've got Boom Headshot versus Gobbos and Doggos. Go ahead and get those loaded up. Hey, Not Delusional, thank you for gifting the subscription to Darkso. Darkso deserves it. It's just true. All right, so we'll get the teams loaded up here. Boom Headshot and Gobbos and Doggos. Time for the puppers. Go Battle Brother. Go Battle Brother. All right. And so, on the left, we have Boom Headshot. They have a champion Goblin Skirmisher, 2 Goblin Shamans, 4 ranged mercs, 2 Ancient Legionnaires with polearms, 2 Ancient Legionnaires with, you know, sword and shield, and then an Arbalister. On the side of Gobbos and Doggos, we've got a champion Goblin Ambusher, 5 Goblin Wolf Riders, 9 Goblin Ambushers, and 8 War Dogs. We'll soon have Hedge Knight versus Goblin Skirmisher, and you don't know how to evaluate that? I know, right? They have been the MVPs. Though I've really enjoyed the team strategies for the Necromancers as well. Definitely, definitely. Specifically in the Netherlands, your entertainment media, like movies in movie theaters and such, is not translated, so regular persons consume lots of English. This is not the case for larger EU communities, countries like France, Germany, Spain, etc. I suppose that's true. Yeah, all the people that I've met from the Netherlands had, like, American English accents, basically. Same for the Scandinavians, yeah. Especially the Finnish, but I really like the Finnish accent. It's very nice. You just have to put emphasis on the first syllable of every word. It wouldn't be a Slurgy stream if I didn't offend at least one entire demographic. All right, looks like more people believing in Boom Headshot so far. Slurgy, I have a great build for the next run. Champion Swordmaster and nothing but slingers. Hey, actually, ball and stall, that sounds pretty good to me. Sounds pretty good to me. Offending a whole country? Finland mentioned? Hello, Dr. Jones. That sounds a little bit like Nigerian, actually. Oh, interesting. I haven't heard much Nigerian accent. Luckily in Spain, you circumvented that by learning French and English on top of Spanish. Interesting. Okay. And so, with predictions and polls closed, let's see, what was the prediction? What are people believing in? Ooh, 77% for Boom Headshot. 77% of points on the line. Let's see how it goes. Being trilingual sure has its perks. Yes. It's always one of those things that, like, I'm jealous of people who can speak lots of languages, and I recognize that in general it happens kind of out of necessity. But as the almost stereotypical American that can only fluently speak English, like I can speak broken Korean, and that's about it. Like the tiniest amounts of Spanish. Like, you know, I can order a beer at a Mexican restaurant in Spanish if I wanted, but I don't. Or like, I don't know. It would be nice to be able to speak another language, but it's just like not, there's no driving reason to be able to do so. So, how often are the community AI tournaments? You know, they are irregular. Seabreeze, they are irregular. Speaking 2 languages is already more than the average non-Hispanic American, I suppose, but I wouldn't even say I can speak 2 languages. I don't think that's even fair. Like, I would not say I speak Korean. Like, not at all. I've heard you speak Korean, it counts. I don't know though, one time I spoke Korean and a person who is a native Korean speaker was like, I don't know what you're saying. It was very disappointing. Your English is pretty decent for an American though. Thanks. I do my best. I do my best. Okay. So in this match, we had a couple really strong roots from the Shamans by Boom Headshot. As long as the Shamans remain protected, they're doing some serious work. You tried learning Korean but couldn't grasp how they pronounced their G and K and it perturbed you too much? You know, I would think, you know, just like learning any language, obviously I'm not an expert on this, but like, you have to set aside your own native phonetics and just embrace what's being presented to you. Because the reality is, they don't care about the aspiration in the same way that English does, at least, and probably other European languages. The fun times of being American and not being able to speak English. You do speak Orcish, your wah is pretty on point. Thank you. That's true, I do have a little bit of Orcish. I can order strange meat when I'm at an orc restaurant. Seems the bones are eating the dogs on this one. So far, so the dogs have all fallen. Honestly, these shamans are, they're picking like the perfect hexes to do their roots, which has been absolutely massive. So despite the kind of low damage output of Boom Headshot, relatively speaking, they have kind of just controlled the battlefield. Strange meat is the only item at the menu on orc restaurants. It's true. Sure, but not enough firepower? Yeah, might not be enough firepower. We'll see. I mean, Gobbos and Doggos has a lot of ambushers there. Now you're just being ignorant. True, they have more than just strange meat. They've got, you know, other stuff, probably. Spicy strange meat, salty strange meat, boiled strange stew, yeah. Fun fact, strange meat translated from Orcish is just regular meat. It's just simply human. Don't they also eat mushrooms? True. They do eat mushrooms. But only a third of their population have the honor of consuming them. Technically you speak English, but nearly no one understands it. It's funny, but sometimes frustrating. Well, I can understand you just fine, Battle Lamia. Though I don't know what Dysarthia and Dystonia are. What is Dysarthia? Because the muscle you use for speech are weak. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, shoot. Well, I can understand you're typing just fine. Yeah, speech troubles don't affect testing. Texting. Wow. Speaking of speech troubles. So we've got a lot of Fallen on both sides here. More so on the side of Gobbos and Doggos. You know, I thought that their overwhelming numbers would take this, but the Shamans have been seriously effective in this particular matchup. Goblin Champion is going to sweep. Yeah, that Goblin Skirmisher on the bottom has been absolutely a menace. The double Shaman was OP yesterday. Yeah, the Shaman, I did increase the cost of the Shaman from the previous Battle Brawl fairly substantially. I might have to increase it again. I didn't realize, I knew they were overpowered. I didn't know they were that overpowered. Skeletons are immune to arrows, OP. Yeah, that's true. A lot of the ambusher arrows were directed at skeletons, which made a huge difference. One interesting part of Goblin Champions is that they always have a named weapon because they can't have armors or shields. That's true. That's true. And honestly, the Skirmisher, the named Spear or Cruel Falchion is a pretty good weapon, especially combined with the Goblin's naturally high stats. It's just really hard to hit them. It's just really hard to hit them. And everyone knows that the best strategy, just don't get hit. Just don't get hit. Easy. Easy. It's so simple. You have a feeling there's a lot more Ancient Dead in this Battle Brawl. Was their price lowered? Yes. I did lower the price of most Ancient Dead. Basically all of them, I think. Yeah, hit enemy, don't get hit back. Is there a named Goblin Dagger that would be spooky? There is not. So their sort of dagger sword hybrid that this ambusher has, there is no named variant of that in Vanilla Battle Brothers. Two of the shield carrying Ancient Dead can tank the entire Goblin team. Yes. So a lot of like piercing type attacks against Ancient Dead will do half damage, but if I recall correctly, arrows do 10% damage. It's something like that. If it's not exactly 10, it's along those lines. It's very, 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 very low. I'm pretty sure it's 10 though. You know, the other thing about this particular battle is that the Goblin Shamans are both still alive, which is nuts. If only the Goblin Ambushers on the side of Gobbos and Doggos would have just attacked the Shamans from the beginning, they could have taken this. But they didn't. So I think they're doomed. They attacked the Shaman about 12 times, missing 11 times. Oh, really? Sturdy strange question. Windows, Linux, or Mac? Linux or Macs? Linux or Mac? I run Windows. at least at home. I've used Linux like some, not extensively. Wow, Shaman rooting the fleeing enemy, kind of rude. Wow! Is the best goblin scream, probably the best scream in the game. Oh man, goblins running away and then proccing attacks as they attempt to leave zone of control. Beautiful, beautiful. Rude, don't you mean root? Yeah. Oh, that poor ambusher can't get away. He can't get away. Oh no. You know, one nice thing about Boom Headshot here that's not to be underestimated, a lot of the time in these battle brawls, units with arrows will friendly fire their allies, but when you friendly fire your skeleton allies, who cares? No big deal. That's kind of a secret superpower of Boom Headshot. And they are the victors in this particular round. Well played to them. Boom Headshot takes the W. Up next, we have Forged Steel versus Check the Flank. We'll go and load up the teams here. Not too many remaining. Okay. Check the flank, more like chicken fillet. Okay. On the side of Forged Steel, we have a champion hedge knight, 3 Oathbringers, and a mercenary. 5 elite units. On the side of Check the Flank, we have a champion desert stalker, 6 frenzied direwolves, a single necrosavant, and an Oathbringer themselves. Oathbringers, despite poor individual performance, have been key members of winning teams. Ballin Stalin says, I have lost 100k points betting on yourself. That's why you've got to do the old aesthetic Gabe trick and bet against your team. That way you win either way. That's the real strategy. You asked that question because you're setting up Ventoy, USB drive to boot multiple Linux distros while watching. Oh, interesting. Yeah, in college, I had a dual boot set up for a while just so that I could do some of my computer engineering type classwork in a Linux environment natively. I don't even remember what version of Linux I ran. I think it was just Ubuntu. And the Linux we had on campus was Red Hat, some version of Red Hat. I don't even remember. And then professionally, I've used an operating system called AIX. And I don't want to talk about it. AIX is, I only use it basically like Linux or Unix. Like I used shell scripts in the exact same way as you would in those environments. And I, wrote Java applications, which I wrote them platform agnostic, so it kind of didn't matter, but it was still I didn't make that decision. I was just deploying my application in the environment that my predecessors did, and that was it. Okay. It looks like we've got more believers in Forged Steel than Check the Flank. Forged Steel has been fun to watch. Let's see which champion they get. The Wolf. Ooh, with a cleaver and shield. Husni the Headhunter. A fashion crime. Let's see how the Wolf does with this named military cleaver. The Wolf against direwolves, pretty interesting. Off to a strong start. Seems like the stalkers refuse to have nice bows. Yeah, a lot of times they are spawning with named armors. So far, Forged Steel practically not even getting hit at all. The Wolf doing pretty well. Naming himself a wolf against the direwolf team, that's just disrespectful at this point. Yes. Hedge Knights are not known for their kind demeanor, though. Look at this lovely group of nerds all talking about Linux distros. You love to see it. You love to see it. Alright, Warhammer getting a hit. Unfortunately, the Destroy Armor attack missed. That would have been very good. Taking out this Hedge Knight's armor is going to be key for Check the Flank to have a chance in this fight. Merc spawned with the best armor? Yeah, he absolutely did. Spawning with the Sellsword's armor, and honestly having a shield. Everyone having a shield against this Necro Savant is huge. With the exception of the Greatsword, which is actually also good against the Necro Savant. Your dad had a Linux firewall / router in your bedroom growing up. What a nightmare to deal with. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Forged Steel, they're just cleaning up. Honestly, the Hedge Knight not even needing to be an MVP here. This was just good, clean living. Check the Flank, kind of getting wrecked. Although I say that and then the Merc dies. Not gonna be enough though, that's for sure. What weapon does the Hedge Knight have? That's a cleaver. That is a famed military cleaver. You hope your shamans can lock down Forged Steel forever? They're gonna need to. They're gonna need to, Dark Paladin. But maybe the Hedge Knight will do a big flank and catch him off guard. You feel like having too many cheap units in a team that's vulnerable to morale checks is a big liability? That's true. That's true. Yeah, in theory, shamans should counter this. We'll see what happens in practice. But so far, I mean, Forged Steel having a very good showing. Hosni the Hunter, not long for this world. Completely surrounded. No underdog. And boom, the wolf lands the killing blow, and Forged Steel emerges victorious. Congratulations to Forged Steel. Better luck next time to Check the Flank. And so, we are now moving on to the semifinals. So let's take just a moment to look at what teams we have remaining. We have Big Swordlance, Unlikely Friends, Boom Headshot, and Forged Steel. We're moving to the semifinals now. Not too many teams remaining. And so our first match will be Big Swordlance versus Unlikely Friends. We'll get the teams loaded up here, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. Okay. On the side of Big Swordlance, we've got a champion Goblin Skirmisher, 9 Ancient Legionaries, and 6 Conscripts with polearms. We'll see how many Swordlances we get this time, or how many just simply spawn with a pole mace. On the side of Unlikely Friends, we have the Champion Hedge Knight, a favorite so far. 4 armored zombies, 2 ranged mercs, an assassin, 2 gunners, and 2 zombie nomads. Not to mention 3 turtle doves. Or 3 turtle doves, 2 French hens? Wait. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Anyway, I could not remember that song for a moment. Had a brain fart. None of those are actually part of the team. All right, poll and predictions are up. We've got, so far, a 50-50 split between Big Swordlance and Unlikely Friends. I think there's a handful of people that kind of wait. They lurk. They hang out for the last second. They wait for the predictions to make their way, and then they strike. It's a fun strat. You can optimize your pointless winnings, and I love it. I love it. Three Marines, 2 Terran race, and a brand new SCV. Oh man, Furious Sheep with the 12 days of StarCraft. What a reference. What a reference. Incredible. I do love that song. A classic. Back when I was still a Blizzard fanboy. But it's not my fault. I didn't change, they did. The big bets always come in late? Yeah, they do. Right now we have a perfect 50-50 split. And it barely moves. 51-49? Ooh, this is a close one. People unsure who's gonna win. Let's see what happens. And we've got 3 sword lances, 3 pole maces. Yeah, Blizzard used to make the best games. Blizzard failed us all. Yeah. All right, so our champion here, the Cleaver, spawning with a hammer. You know what? Who needs talky words? Who needs to know what do words even mean, you know? Katal isn't a good choice. Yeah, Katal, kind of a bad weapon for the assassin to spawn with. Yeah, Battlelamia, I had the exact same thing happen. Diablo 3. I was living in Korea at the time, and so after I would teach, I would go to the local PCbang, as you do, and I would load up Diablo 3. I would actually play it in Korean, in the Korean client, which actually helped my Korean quite a bit, because I was like, you know, I listened to the old men sitting down and be like, oh, 힘들다, or something like that, and then I'd look at my stat sheet and be like, him. Oh, that means strength. Anyway, but I played that game enough to find a monk fist weapon that I could sell on the Real Money auction house for $255, which was the maximum possible. Then I realized as soon as I sold it that I hated every single dollar that I spent at that PC cafe. I was not having fun with the game, and that I was done with it. So after selling that item, I felt like I cashed out IRL and no longer played a single Blizzard game from that point on. Not one. Even though I would go back and play Brood War. Don't tell me you didn't enjoy the amazing auction house? Yeah. Is Slurgy actually Northern Lion? The hole goes down deep on this one. I was once called, I think in a YouTube comment, a cross between Johnny Sins, and this is in reference to someone calling me Johnny Sins, who I didn't know who he was until I looked him up. I'm a little bit different, but, you know, maybe a little similar. Anyway, I was called a cross between Northern Lion and Johnny Sins, which is very kind. Were you in Seoul? You spent a week playing StarCraft in Pyeongtaek Internet Cafe in 2002 or so? Nice. I was in Seoul. Yeah. It was, let's see, what year would that have been? 2011? Like 2011? Around there anyway. I think that was the year. It was wonderful. I also did a study abroad in Ajuteakyo, a school in Aju, or like a suburb of Seoul, basically. Where one of my buddies was friends with Zellos, Xellos IRL, and I was gonna play him in an internet cafe. They were gonna set up like a little match for us. It didn't happen. Anyway, this Hedge Knight getting taken down. Haven't really been commenting on the game at all here. Sorry. I'll get back to it. But yeah, Big Swordlance kind of crushing here. Kind of crushing it. Your apartment in Seoul was literally one building down from the ASL studio? Nice. Very nice. You're not saying Slurgy is Johnny Sins, but you've ever seen them in the same room? Well, that'd be quite the video. Zealous was insane at the time? Yeah, he was. And I was gonna play him. I was really good at the time. He was definitely better. But yeah, my buddy Hwangi was friends with Zealous. Yeah, the hammer bro fell so fast, he just let himself get surrounded. Why would you name yourself the Cleaver and then bring a hammer? That was obviously a huge misplay. Big Swordlance showing us the power of the Swordlance. A very good showing. Never vote against Big Swordlance. Never vote against Big Swordlance. Assassin, instead of doing Death Blow on the target that has daze, footworks away. Isn't Zealous the one who won against Day 9 when he played in that international tournament? I don't know. He played a best of 3 against Fisheye once. Very nice. You think Big Swordlance is the best team composition, but you had faith in the Hedge Knight. Well, the problem with the Hedge Knight was that the Hedge Knight called himself the Cleaver and spawned with a hammer. Big mistake. The Hound would solo, the Hound would solo. Green Killer, you did miss Forged Steel Fight, and I will not tell you the results, but if you don't want to know the results, you should probably just leave and go watch the VOD. The VOD isn't up yet, of course, but I don't know. Can you rewind a live recording? You probably can. Only on YouTube? You can rewind on YouTube? Okay. Well, there we go. Load it up on YouTube. Boom. Hey, you're welcome, Green Killer. Secret VOD Briggy Tech? Yes. Yeah, and I mean, Big Swordlance just swept the floor. This is crazy. That was, I mean, 14 units remaining? That's insane. That's insane. Big Swordlance practically losing nobody. Wow. Congratulations, Big Swordlance. Well played, Unlikely Friends. We are now proceeding to the other semifinal match. All right. We have Boom Headshot versus Forged Steel. So we'll go and load up the two teams. This is like the third or fourth time in the Battle Brawls that you've faced a champion team in the first round. Shit, I'm sorry, the Chaucer. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. That is the downside to the single elimination, is that there are some teams that are genuinely really strong that face the team that's going to win it all in the first round. I mean, someone's got to. The Jouster just happens to do a very good job of, you know, RNG is not kind, I suppose. Okay. So on the side of Boom Headshot, we've got a champion Goblin Skirmisher, 2 Goblin Shamans, 4 ranged Mercs, 2 Ancient Legionaries with polearms, 2 Ancient Legionaries, and an Arbalister. On the side of Forged Steel, we've got our small but mighty team, 1 champion Hedge Knight, 3 Oathbringers, and a Merc. Slurgy always brings suboptimal bros. The hardest part of the game is getting up and running. Once you're running, though, even suboptimal bros can be really good. Absolutely. Yeah, so Amber Dim, I don't have any building videos or build videos in my channel. I do have, and I've mentioned it so many times, it's almost a meme because I haven't released it yet. I have a build video planned. I just have so many other things that I want to do. I have so many other things I want to do. It's tough to, and I also have to, you know, take the time to relearn a new video editing software because RIP HitFilm has basically turned into abandonware. And I'm just like, about learning to use a new editing tool. I got DaVinci Resolve and, you know, I'll learn it and whatever, but it's going to have different workflows and I'm just going to be annoyed by how long it'll take me to figure out how to do certain stuff. Okay, so we've got 81% believing in Boom Headshot. I'm inclined to agree. I think these Shamans are going to control the other side too well, but we'll see. We've got Grisnik Gutstabber versus the Hedge Knight. The Shamans being faster is a very big deal. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. A shield destroyed. These units need to just simply spread out. Luckily for them, they have super high melee skill. So the units of Forged Steel will be able to spread out. That's good at least. Which Hedge Knight though? The Hedge Knight. With a named Heater Shield. Honestly, not a bad weapon for the situation. Or named item. It's not a weapon. It's an armor. It's a shield. Round swing incoming. No, shield destruction. What match number is this? In the tournament overall, it is the 30th. Yeah, root breaking is a melee skill roll. So breaking out of roots, breaking out of nets, breaking out of the tentacles in the Kraken fight, it is all a melee skill roll. Web nets, it increases by 10 each failed attempt. I think that's all the information you need to know about it. Now, Boom Headshot doesn't have very good weapons to damage Forged Steel. It's going to be all about keeping them down. Which so far they've been able to do, but Forged Steel, very, very, very durable. Yeah, the 2 crossbows are basically the only real damaging weapons right now. Well, I don't know. The Ancient Legionary, the pikes have good damage. The others are just not good against armored enemies. But they're using a lot of AP just to break free from the Shaman roots. The Hedge Knight, though, doing his best. The entire side of Forged Steel is confident. Shamans will be their doom, death by 1,000 cuts. Might be. It might be, but Forged Steel is spreading out, which is going to prevent the Shamans from being able to keep them down. I don't know. I am starting to think that Forged Steel might have this, actually. Does every team in the quarterfinals have Undead in the front and Living in the back? Seems like such a strong strategy. It does seem like a strong strategy, Battle Pashi. Not everyone. Not everyone. But a lot. Definitely a lot do. Shamans still doing their thing. Oh, that, no, Oathbringer. Why go backwards? Don't go backwards, go forward. What is he doing? Why would he do this? Why would he do this? Yeah, serious lack of damage on Boom, for sure. Definitely. Yeah, protect the Hatless Briggy. I mean, he's got a kite shield. He is shield walling. He's doing his best. Stand back and let the Hedge Knight do the work. That has been the strategy so far. Usually it's the Hedge Knight hanging back, but you know. Hedge Knight's just too strong, I think. Just simply too strong. They're literally all shooting at the kite shield. Yeah, they want to get the finishing attack. They see that it's a one-shot kill, so they're all focusing him down. And eventually they got there. The entire front line for Boom Headshot has been taken down. The Hedge Knight was on top of a Goblin Shaman. Yeah, the champion Goblin was taken down by the Oathbringers in the back. Ooh, we've got a unit fleeing. I think Boom Headshot might be eliminated. These units as they flee are going to be mincemeat to this Hedge Knight's axe. Is Forged Steel really going to pull this off? You know, they might. They absolutely might. This will be a very interesting finals. Yeah, this is actually going to be really good finals. I agree. I agree. Reddit build wins again. Reddit always gets the last laugh. Shaman's doing their best. Forged Steel got past their round one just barely, then dominated the rest. I know, that's why when Green Killer showed up, it was like, get out of here. Get out of here. He's like, I don't want any spoilers. It's like, well, then you need to leave. You need to leave. This feels like Special Forces against the other team in the round one finals. A little bit. It does a little bit. Yeah, Boom Headshot is doomed. Just 2 units left. Just 2, like, Hunter's Bows. Nah, no chance. No chance. Nice attack, though. Moving together in a big old clump. No longer afraid of the Goblin Shaman. They're confident. Dang, all your points gone. Oh no, Dark Paladin. I appreciate the spirit to bet on your own team, though. Oh my god. Are they really just gonna run to the edge of the map? Did Forged Steel get lucky with all those shields? I would say so. I think so. This is really funny, though, how they can't seem to... Okay. Well, never mind. All I had to do was say what was gonna happen, and then it didn't happen. 10x speed time? Nah, they'll get there eventually. They'll get there. They are surrounded now. They're doomed. Hatchet Bro gonna kill one? No, hit him in the head. Almost got him. I was wondering if that Hatchet Bro would finish off the guy with the great axe, but couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Boom, and there it is. The Forged Steel manages to take it. Incredible. And so now, oh shit, we're moving on to the finals. We have Big Swordlance versus Forged Steel. Just as with the previous, in the finals, we're going to do a best of 3. That way, nobody can claim that the result was simply a fluke. There will be a single prediction. Well, I guess, I don't know. What do people want to do? Would they rather do a single prediction for the whole thing or one prediction per match? What's the preference? Single? Single, both? Whole thing per match? You know, I should have asked this in a way that was maybe better, especially since I'm relying on Not Delusional and Squigs to help do this. Poll? Yeah, let's... Squigs, can you set up a poll for that question to make that decision? I'm going to use the restroom real quick, and then we'll get this final match started. Be back in just a second. Oh. Let's do this. This. Close enough. I've returned. All right, so far it's looking like more people are currently voting for the one single prediction. Both of these teams won against their arch nemesis. The Goblin Champion slew a Hedge Knight, and the Hedge Knight dismembered a Goblin Champion. This is gonna be close. Yes. This one could go either way. Big Swordlance has a really strong front line. That's going to take a while for Forged Steel to punch through. But on the other hand, the weapons on the side of Big Swordlance are slightly less effective against Forged Steel. It's a lot of, like, you know, weapons that are effective against low armored foes. So, how does joining the queue of character names in the next run work? Well, Warcake, tomorrow when I do the start of the run, I will open up a queue, and unfortunately that queue will be a queue first come first serve for subscribers. So more information on the specific details will come after this final match. All right, it looks like people want a singular prediction. A single prediction for the finals. Teams are loaded up. Does Prime sub count? Yes, it does, Warcake. It does. I'm 99% sure. The run returns. That's right, Battlelamia. First time in the finals. Stylish, strong bros is your bread and butter. Tough guys didn't make it. Now Forged Steel will do it. Quality over quantity. Hell yeah, Green Killer. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hope you can make it in time to queue tomorrow. You have to travel for work again. Ah, shoot, falsers. Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Guess you got to bet on the team that whooped you. Poll and prediction are up. Okay, so as a reminder, Big Swordlance, we've got the Goblin Skirmisher champion, a front line of Ancient Legionaries, and a back line of conscripts with pole arms. Could have Swordlances, could have pole maces. Honestly, the pole maces are kind of the better choice here, especially if they do the stun. Whereas on the side of Forged Steel, we have a champion Hedge Knight, 3 Oathbringers, and a mercenary. Zeldist, thank you for the Prime sub. BattleBrawl, Bezos, Bucks, much appreciated, much appreciated. You're glad I took a break and excited for it to continue? Well, thank you, Battlelamia. Yeah, I had to take a small sanity break, but don't worry, I'm still just as relentless and insane. I refuse to be defeated. I refuse. I absolutely refuse to let myself be defeated. I just can't do it. Stream at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Yeah. Yep. 5:30 Central. I'll announce the specific time in the Discord so that it is translated into your local time. Please change sides so it matches the prediction text and the bracket. Wait, that should be right. Looks right to me. It's okay you didn't see the manly tears of rage. Yeah. You're pretty confident in the numbers advantage of Backstabber? Okay, wow, this prediction is super close. Super close. 52% Forged Steel, 48% for Big Swordlance. One singular prediction, one single poll. Let's see, what was the poll result? Same deal, 55% for Forged Steel, 45, excuse me, for Big Swordlance. Again, this will be a best of 3. Here we have it. Match 1, round 1. Fight on. Let's see who our champion is. Zogzak Knife Licker and Man Crusher. Nice. Dr. Jones, thank you for the subscription for Forged Steel. Our Hedge Knight spawning with a coat of plates and a named shield, named heater shield. Yeah, Goblin's looking pretty dead. Hammer on the bottom Oathbringer is going to be effective as well. A big shatter attack incoming. And there it is. Let's see how long Man Crusher can withstand these attacks. Ooh, riposte. Riposte spotted. Your brain says Swordlance, but your heart says Hound? Well, we'll see. The bottom Oathbringer has Lone Wolf active, by the way. Random side note, but that's weirdly kind of a big deal. He's just in the perfect spot to have the Lone Wolf buff. Nine lives procced on the Champion Ambusher. Bottom, ooh, yeah. I think Big Swordlance, they've probably got this. This Hedge Knight needs to break out of the net, like really bad. That would have been so much better than using Riposte. Okay, that's a fine middle ground. Steel doesn't have enough AP to get over the Skellies and Lances. Yeah, I think that's probably true. However, they are confident. But are they confident enough? Big Swordlance attacks. Man Crusher doing a good job taking out the front line there. No, maybe they're hanging in there. I don't know. Forged Steel doing okay. Questionable move by that Goblin. Questionable move by that Oathbringer. Don't break the shield. Just kill him. Yeah, the Goblin Champion's still standing. You know, this Swordlance, there's one Swordlance on the bottom that's been able to get a 3-person reap each round. That's been huge as well. Forged Steel down to just 3 units. Meanwhile, the conscripts, yeah, I think there's just too much damage there. And the fast adaptation backstabber kind of makes this an inevitability. As they miss their attacks, they only become increasingly more and more accurate. But it is a best of 3, right? They're hanging in there. I mean, they've done an okay job. Conscripts doing their best. Best of 3, but they don't look likely to win. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Things are looking pretty good for Big Swordlance. Evergreen sponsor of the channel. Losing all their armor under the net was bad. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, the Hedge Knight not breaking free from the net, questionable. Never vote against Big Swordlance. Never vote against Big Swordlance. Now, I will say, Big Swordlance has been getting pretty unlucky with their attacks. Most of these misses have been 50%ers. That's questionable. Yeah, that conscript getting punished for a very stupid move. Not breaking free from the net, pressing riposte against a huge polearm backline. Right, yeah. Riposte while trapped in a net, just generally speaking, not a good idea. To be fair, throwing the first round is the sort of thing we should expect from Forged Steel. That's so true. I think if they get a champion with a big AoE attack, things could be different. I'm thinking either a Great Sword or Great Axe. All right. The first match goes to Big Swordlance. We will start our second round. Let's see what happens. And our champions are Drukzog Gutstabber versus the Hedge Knight. Not a very good shield. That is the Pavis. And so we'll see how this goes. Come on, not 2x shield. I know, right? Yeah, Arming Sword, Arming Sword plus shield, that ain't it. That is not the way you take on skeletons. The double-gripped Noble Sword that Oathbringer has in the back? Sure. But an Arming Sword? Nah. The Ohio State Knight? I like it because it's dumb. Now, I will say this. If the Hedge Knight chooses to break out of this net... Oh, I need to pull this down. If he chooses to break out of this net... Nah, he took too much damage already. Now, what are you doing? What is he doing? He's throwing. He's throwing. Your champion is a master of strategy? Seems so. Big Swordlance immune to bad weapon roll RNG. Perfect design. True. True. Yeah, riposte in a net, big brain. Unbelievable. He's hoping by taking these hits, eventually they cut him out of the net in the process. Ooh, I see. They are using slashing weapons. These two shields are just lame. We'll do the third match. We'll do the rubber match just to see if it's a 3-0 clean sweep or a 2-1. Because I kind of want to know. So we'll do the third match either way. Next mod update will allow you to pick your weapons. Unfortunately, I think that's kind of that's non-trivial, obnoxiously. Hedge Knight still in the net. Wow. You know, the problem is that Big Swordlance didn't face the true MVP of Forged Steel, that being, of course, the Hound. Yeah, he's not in the net anymore, that's true, that's true. Meanwhile, this Oathbringer on the bottom has kind of been, you know, just chilling, just doing his thing. Just doing his own little 3v1. Living his best life. Hedge Knight with sword and board sucks. Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to look in the code to see what the like chances of that happening are. Since regular Hedge Knights, like non-champion versions, pretty much always, maybe actually always have a two-handed weapon. Might actually be always. Most of their loadouts are two-handed weapons on a regular Hedge Knight, non-champion. Is it hot? Yeah, oh yeah, it's super hot outside. It is obnoxiously hot outside here in Minnesota. Absolutely roasting. The air is like uncomfortably hot. Yeah, this isn't even close. Not even a contest. You're worried they're gonna hit you with rolling blackouts? Yeah, luckily we've got pretty good public utility here. That there's no risk of that. Though I am in like the energy saving program where they shut down my thermostat during the day, which honestly I'm totally fine with. I don't really need it during the day. We don't really ever run our AC during the day. We just have it set to kick on at night. North Carolina's going up to the hundreds this week with very high humidity. Gross. Very gross. You feel like even if the champion has a two-handed weapon, he doesn't have enough AP to get through all the skeletons spamming shield wall? Maybe. I don't know. Hedge Knights are pretty accurate. They're actually... it's a reasonable hit chance even against a shield wall spamming skeleton. Especially if they've got the octagonal shields instead of the tower shields. Have you guys discovered AC in Minnesota? If you go to the Northeast, some states don't even have AC. Yeah, we've got it. We've got it. I had an apartment in Madison, Wisconsin that did not have any AC though. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. At least that particular year, that summer. Okay, let's do our third match just to see. Just to see. If the Hedge Knight doesn't spawn with a two-handed weapon, I'm gonna cancel it and it doesn't count. I just wanna see what the two-handed weapon versus the other team is. Of course, Big Swordlance is already the victor. This is the for funsies match. Nope. Okay, Steel Wielder. Let's just see what happens with a for funsies third round. Congratulations, of course, to Big Swordlance. Big Swordlance taking the big W in Battle Brawl number 6. Pretty incredible. You can't do that here in Texas. It's 110 here with 80% humidity. If you turn off the AC during the day, it'd be 130 in the house. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I kind of just rely on my house being a giant thermal battery, essentially. 355,702 channel points exchanged. Holy buckets. Positioning right below the high ground. Yes, but notably, look at this net table turn until that moment. You know, honestly, the single goblin skirmisher, God, that net is such a big deal. That net is such a big deal. What were the hit chances there? Yeah, like 70s, upper 70s. Wow. That was quick, went away for a couple minutes and missed an entire round. Must have been a quick win. Yeah, I mean, Big Swordlance just completely carried it. So congratulations to Rufin. That was Rufin's team. Rufin being a big fan of the Swordlance in their personal play. And for good reason. The Swordlance, you know, effective weapon. All these pole maces taking down Steel Wielder. These Oathbringers are swagged out this round. Gold trim, everything. Yeah, they've all got the fanciest of armor and helms. Yeah, well done, Rufin. Congratulations to Rufin. Rufin, who will now carry a brand new title in the Discord. Battle Brawl number 6 champion. You love to see it. Okay, the Hedge Knight getting a big couple attacks in. Unfortunately, still refusing to break free from the net. The stream is major lagging for you? You don't know what's going on? Oh no, Electro Giant. Oh no. It looks to me like I have 0 dropped frames, sending like 12 kbps. 12,000. So 12. Anyway, I'm sending many megabytes every second. Speaking of, I have been offered by Twitch to be able to stream in an increased resolution instead of 1080p. Has anyone used that or had experience with that? I've heard negative things. I'm sure that my ISP can handle it at very high bit rates. I've got fiber, and it is very good and very reliable fiber. Yeah, it sucks? Okay. I've heard it sucks from some people's perspectives. Like the bit rate is too low. You wouldn't bother streaming higher than 1080p? That's kind of my thought. Like 1080p is fine. That's my thought. No point, mostly useless. Okay, that was honestly, that was my thought. Because to me, having watched my own VODs and seen my live stream, I can still like read the text. And if I can read the text cleanly, do I need increased resolution? I don't think so. Since you can only do it in certain countries, yeah. Well, my understanding is that they lower the bitrate. Also, as a side note, despite the Hedge Knight falling, this team is doing a lot better on Forged Steel. It makes it worse for everyone not watching at 4K and lots of internets can't handle the download speed on your end. Okay, that makes sense. I will stick to the current 1080p, which is kind of what I planned on, unless there were strong opinions otherwise. Swordlance team has no Swordlances? That's true. They actually might. I think Forged Steel is going to carry this in this final match. This just for funsies match. Oathbringers are stacked this round. Yeah, they spawned with the literal best possible helmets and body armor. Instead of riposting in a net and dying. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And the Goblin Champion just got erased. Just got eliminated very quickly. It's still going to be really close, though. Better question is, what is the percentage of people who have 1440p screen to begin with? Well, that's true. That's a fair point. On the other hand, Big Swordlance got all pole maces, so you're surprised they didn't do better, right? Yeah, pole maces being pretty effective weapons against armored foes. Unfortunately, that Merc in the back, who was doing a really good job, overwhelmed by Fearsome. He's afraid. There's dozens of us! Dozens! No shield means they can't use riposte plus shield block on the same turn and no reason, and then not attack like they used to for so many rounds, yeah. Well, we'll see if this last Oathbringer can do it. I don't know if that was the play. Very close, though. Let's put on the health bars. Yeah, he's pretty low. I don't know, he's really low. Ooh, okay. And there it is. Big Swordlance with the 3-0 sweep. Wonderful. Wonderful. So again, congratulations. Big congratulations to Big Swordlance. And congratulations to Rufin for drafting this team. All right, and now the big announcement. The big announcement. It turns out that run 28 was, in fact, the run. It was the run that showed us the way. It was the run that has highlighted what I was missing in my understanding about this whole challenge series. I had a dramatic misunderstanding of the pacing necessary to maintain late game momentum. Dramatic misunderstanding. There are reasons I had this misunderstanding. Part of it was information from people who have done similar types of ideas, from similar types of runs, that I took at face value and should not have. I did some calculations on wages that were wrong. I did some things wrong that now that I've reached that sort of day 100 plus point, I realize I had missing and misunderstanding. And so, tomorrow, I will put an announcement with a specific time that will translate to your local time zone, but at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, we start not run 29, but run number 1 of the no loss, no town, no third party fight, no cheese win streak. It's happening. Run number 1. So if you would like to be a part of that squad, be sure to tune in and join the queue, because tomorrow we make it happen. Run number 1. And it's only victories from that point on. It's like they always say, you have to fail 28 times in a row before you achieve victory. So, we start tomorrow. Thank you to everyone who joined BattleBrawl number 6. This was great fun. We had some really good matches in this one. I had a ton of fun. And so, that's where I'm going to call it. Let's see if I can bring up someone to raid. VODs, of course, will be uploaded, and Rufin will get his fancy title. Let's see, who should I send you guys over to? I don't normally raid at this time of the day. Oh, let's see. You know I know who I'll send you to. Someone who I really like. Totally different type of stream, totally different type of vibe. Completing every single Nintendo 64 game. It's the Beast, who actually I think he's playing something different right now, but whatever. So to all of you, wherever you are in the world, I hope you join me tomorrow for the beginning of the Run series. Wherever you are, make it a good one. Ta-ta.